few things in my mind thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery support.
Surely you can't be serious.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. I apologize for the no videos for the past couple of days. I'm going to try to get this video done, and then the next week will be a slew of videos after maybe possibly Wednesday. I've been incredibly busy. I haven't had any time to actually get any videos done. I'm actually lucky that I can even do one right now. So, yeah, it's just been a slew of just being busy throughout the past couple of days, the past few days, actually. So, I'm sorry about that. But we're going to go talk about exactly on what's going on with Kamala Harris, the whole issue with that, and then, FEMA and these other things. I'm not trying to make this and push this being political. I've just been so backlogged that I haven't been able to get to do the actual news that I've been wanting to do, and there's a lot more coming. So what we have here is this simple thing, right? This is Kamala Harris, right? It wasn't that much after. This is October 8th, granted, but this is 3 days ago. And it was literally a day afterwards that Kamala Harris brings this up. And I'm going to blow this up for you guys to see. She says here that the people of Lebanon are facing an increasingly dire humanitarian situation. I'm concerned about the security and well-being of civilians suffering in Lebanon and will continue working to help meet the needs of all civilians there. To that end, the United States will provide nearly $157 million in additional assistance to the people of Lebanon for essential needs such as food, shelter, water, protection, and sanitation to help those who have been displaced by the recent conflict. Goes on to say that additional support brings total U.S. assistance to Lebanon over the last year to $385 million. I don't know who is controlling her social media account. I don't know whether she's actually saying this, but the fact of the matter is that Kamala Harris is going out and saying this and completely ignoring the fact of what's going on around her. This is a completely deaf-tone take that I can't even believe she even thought of doing this. This is completely dumb. Now, what we have here is that North Carolina is really got hit by the hurricane. And I understand that Hurricane Milton is right around the corner. Now, we're going to have a huge problem with this, right? Because what we have here is, we have this. Because FEMA gave money to the illegal immigrants. And it says, rumor, funding for FEMA disaster response was diverted to support international efforts or border-related issues. Says this is false. No money is being diverted from disaster response needs. FEMA's disaster response efforts individual assistance is funded through the Disaster Relief Fund, which is a dedicated fund for disaster efforts. Disaster Relief Fund money has not been diverted to other non-disaster related efforts. This was updated on October 3rd, 2024. But they're lying here. Because if you go and look for this, right? If you go and look for this, it's right on their webpage. It has all this here. So the press release was, Biden-Harris administration provides more than $45 million to hurricane healing survivors, continues addressing critical needs across Southeast. So that's what they're saying here, right? That they provided $45 million, which is a slap in the face because they still quadruple the amount of money they're sending to Lebanon. because $385 million over the last year, and they're sending $157 million right now. Then, of course, this is right on FEMA's page, right? Right on FEMA's page, saying their fiscal year 2024 awards. So it goes on to say that for fiscal year of 2024, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will provide $640 million of available funds to enable non-federal entities to offset allowable costs incurred for services associated with non-citizen migrant arrivals in their communities. This is literally on their FEMA grant section, the fiscal year of 2024 awards. This is right here. So they're lying when they're saying, oh, we didn't give the disaster relief money to anybody else. We didn't do this. This is a lie. We didn't do this to support international efforts or border-related issues. Yes, you did, because it's right here on your actual website. You can literally go on this right now and check it. And it goes on to say the funding will be distributed through two opportunities. $300 million through SSP allocated and $340 million through SSP competitive. So, again, they're lying here. They're straight up lying. And of course, it says Department of Homeland Security announces $300 million in direct funding to communities receiving migrants and $340 million for a new competitive awards process, which is released a date of April 12, 2024. And this is... Like, they immediately contradict themselves on their own website. It's actually hilarious. This is not a rumor, FEMA. This is just reality. Now, again, this gets worse than you think, right? This gets actually worse. Because then they hear this, Kamala Harris Lebanon relief under scrutiny as GOP stokes healing backlash. No. It's not the GOP that's doing this. It's Kamala Harris herself. Because, again, she literally goes on to say here that she's supporting Lebanon and not supporting any of the 5 or 6 other states that are suffering from Hurricane Helene. Add insult to injury, Florida is making a huge splash about this, so that's a problem. Let's not talk about the other things that she's going to be talking about, which will go on either Wednesday or Thursday, and, and all that stuff. So, again, she's lying here. Again, of course, we have this here. WAPO can say whatever they want. $1 billion has been spent on illegals in 2 years, and FEMA says it's out of money for hurricane victims, which they have literally said that. Of course, we have this here. FEMA accused of playing the victim after insisting criticism of healing handling is dangerous. That's, yeah, we're going to go here. That's
so much is going viral online as well. One user suggested yesterday that a militia should go against FEMA, got more than 500,000 views. What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing to all of the first responders that have been out there in their communities helping people, FEMA staff, volunteers, the private sector that are working side by side with local officials to go out and help people. I need to make sure I can get the resources to where they're needed. And when you have this dangerous rhetoric like you're hearing, it creates fear in our own employees. And we need to make sure we're getting help to the people who need it.
So much is going viral.
Oh, we are the victims. Feel sorry for us. Oh yes, we're the victims. Not like almost 100 to 200 people are dead, and you're upset and scared and say it's dangerous that you're being criticized over your response, over saying that you don't have funds in order to give people, and you're saying, oh, because the big nasty words are hurting us. That's the reason why we're upset. It's don't hurt us, don't criticize on our efforts. It's really having bad on our staff. Go F yourself, FEMA. Because, again, this is something insanity. You are sad and hate the rhetoric and the fear of your own employees because people are angry over how you're handling things. When you've been giving billions of dollars, or $1.4 billion, to illegal migrants, you're out of money, you're late on your response, and you're only giving $750 to people per family. By the way, $750 per family. So that's another thing. And you're even denying people, some people getting the money. So yes, you're getting criticized, and you have the audacity, the absolute audacity, to say that your employees and you are comfort level is being hurt, or you're being feared by what people are saying because you're being criticized over your horrible. Get out of here. Get out of here. Absolute BS. And then, of course, we have the bigger thing, another thing, too. FEMA is, I want to say this here. I think FEMA should be abolished, and I think it should be replaced, be called America's First Safe Act, or something along those lines, right? Because obviously, they're not America first. They're illegal immigrants first, and victim card. Because obviously, they don't care, because it's our fault. We don't like being criticized. So, what we have here from Ed Wilderness is saying, FEMA Disaster Preparedness Meeting. We should focus our efforts on the alphabet community. They struggle before the storm. FEMA relief is no longer about getting the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. It's about disaster equity. Yes, we're going to go over this.
Sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery supports.
All right. We're going to go through this, right? Here's the insane part, right? The fact that you're saying the alphabet community has struggled before the storm, so they should get special treatment because they struggled before the storm. This is complete insanity. What we do, regardless whether you are gay, LGBTQ, trans, or whatever the heck you are, I don't care. If your leg is cut off and you're bleeding out, then you should probably see more immediate aid to save your life, regardless whether you're trans or not, or gay or not, or whatever gender, race, etc., than the person that maybe have, maybe a broken leg, or, maybe have a scrape on his arm, or, stuff like that, right? So people that need higher priority should be focused on. Not because that they're gay or trans, and that should be the bigger focus. That is insanity to me. So what you're going to say here is that if there is a white person that's laying on the ground, that's bleeding out, and is about to die, but there's a trans person or gay person on this side, or whatever, you're going to choose that person that is in less dire need of help. You're going to focus on that person first because they struggled before the storm, instead of the person that's dying out on the ground. That is insanity. That is complete ludicrous. That is, I don't even know how to define that, because that is just completely abysmal in every regard. This is the reason why I say abolish FEMA, put it something there, and say America Survival First Act or something, right? Something along those lines. First, put America there, put America first, and have whatever else next, right? Like America first and then whatever else. Because obviously, these people care more about the trans community, the LGBTQ community, the alphabet community than anybody else. Because if you're white, well, I guess you're just going to have to die. We're just going to choose this trans person over you. These people are fucking insane. First, they play the victimhood mentality. Then they go and say, oh, well, the trans people, the alphabet community is more important. We have to focus on them. Nobody's talking about this because it doesn't matter. Regardless whether you're trans or not, you should get help depending on how severe your injuries are. This is insane. I cannot stand this government thing, this federal company, or whatever the hell you want to call it. They need to be abolished. It needs to be replaced by something else. Obviously, not abolish it right now because they need to go do whatever their wokeness and stupidity is so they can actually help people in Melton. But after this, abolish it, reform it, call it America First, whatever else, and then just call it a day. Because obviously these people are incompetent. They don't care about the American people. They rather care about trans rights or the alphabet community first than any other American. It's insanity, and I can't believe that this is what's going on in our federal government. It's completely insane. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Let's guys share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.